How are we all doing this evening? So I had a fun day. I was speaking to a couple of lobbyists. I also spoke to one of the people who's helping me with the FTC and antitrust, and I'm making some progress here. I believe that I have a lobbyist picked for a certain state. This is really weird. So for one of the states, and I can't say which one, I know that there are several politicians there that dislike me because they have bought into the concept that we are bullies based on a TechNet video that I did a few years ago, and also based on a video that I did on Lisa McCabe from CTIA a few years ago. So there's a few politicians in that state that don't like me. So if I hire a lobbyist through my 501c4, it will appear as if I am behind it, and then it will make it less likely that they will support the measure. So this is what I'm learning is that this entire thing is kind of like high school drama. And the people that are good lobbyists, the people I speak to that are into lobbying professionally, they all seem like the kids that were popular during high school. So one of the things that I have to do for one of these states is I have to make a grant to an organization that then that then hires the lobbyist with the money that I granted them. So I have to find a political advocacy organization, give them the money piecemeal, and then have them pay this lobbyist so that it shows up that I'm not the one paying, which seems kind of ridiculous. But yeah, it really does kind of seem ridiculous. But it is what it is. There's some other fun stuff. So there's this one problem that I remember having back in 2014 where I hired someone to do something that I don't know how to do, and I couldn't tell whether they were bullshitting me or not. And my friend John came by one night. We were both semi-drunk, and it was like 11 or 1 in the morning. We came by the store, and what we did was we tried to figure out how to do his job, and figuring it out from scratch and then doing it took an hour and 17 minutes. And this guy always took 3 to 7 hours to do a single job. And then we figured out he was full of shit, and I had a talk with him, and I fired him with like 2 or 3 days. Because for 3 months he was telling me all these different reasons why this was going slow, and how hard this is, and how this is impossible, and blah blah blah. And then I went to do his job for the first time while intoxicated, and it worked in an hour and 17 minutes. Never gonna forget that. John's a good friend, and I really do have to try and reconnect with him because I haven't spoken to him in a while, and I feel badly about that. But one of the things that I'm finding here is there's one person that's helping me with interfacing with the FTC, or just starting to come up with the basic legal framework for what's happening with the FTC. And I started this before the Biden executive order, and it's been about a month over the time that they told me that it was going to take. And when they say this is why this is difficult to make this case, I feel like an imposter. I feel like one of the this is what middle management must feel like. Because what I'm doing is I'm the boss, I'm paying you, but I don't know how to do your job. So when you miss a deadline, how do I know if you missed it for a legitimate reason because what you're doing is actually really difficult, or if you're just screwing with me? You know, it's one of those things where I can either be lax and not get the result that I need, but be seen as someone who's understanding, he understands what's going on in this business, or I could be a douchebag and push. Maybe I'm right for being a douchebag and pushing. Maybe I'm not right for being a douchebag. But then I could be seen as somebody who's, quote, out of touch, who doesn't really understand what goes into doing something. And everybody has this. Everybody has a boss that doesn't know how to do their job, that's always telling them faster, more higher quality, more sales, whatever the hell it is. But I'm starting to learn how to deal with that, and I'm starting to learn how to not care. It's weird moving on to this phase in my life where I'm managing people that do jobs that I don't know how to do. Or when it comes to interviewing a lobbyist to see if they're fit for a position, I don't know how to do your job. I'm not a lobbyist. I don't know how to lobby. I don't know how that entire process works, but I have to choose amongst 3 or 5 different lobbyists which one gets hired for a particular state, for a particular bill. So interviewing, now for me, it's really easy to interview the people that are at my store. So when it comes to difficult customers, if there's a customer that's pissed, I can pick up the phone. I have the skill set to understand what's going on, solve their problem, make them feel happy. When it comes to board repair, I have the skill set necessary to do a quality board repair. So if somebody fucks up over and over again, I can figure out whether this is an impossible problem or whether this is something that you should be able to do, because I know how to do your job. So I can look at it and try and do the job and then figure out Are you not doing this properly because I gave you an unreasonable task, or are you not doing this properly because you suck? But when it comes to work that I don't know how to do, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I'm guessing. So what I have to do is I have to gauge whether or not you are fit to do your job based on my best guess, based on what you've told me, your track record, and like you really are kind of in some way coming up with it as you go. You really are kind of coming up with it as you go. But and there is a bit of imposter syndrome there. Like, I mean, like, I think, for some reason this YouTube channel got to 1.59 million subscribers, which is insane. For some reason, I'm known as the forefront of the right to repair movement and all that stuff. But like, I know how to get an issue publicity. I know how to get an issue in the paper. I know how to get people talking about it. Above all, I know how to get normal, average, everyday people to follow along a storyline and care about something that they otherwise wouldn't care about. And I know how to keep right to repair from becoming a cultural war issue like everything else in America. But when it comes to like the nitty gritty stuff, I'm not a yeah, like there's this incredible sense of imposter syndrome when you pick up the phone and you call a government relations firm and you're trying to figure out of two or three of them which one should be the one that gets hired. Or when you're interfacing with an antitrust attorney and you need to figure out if the work that they're doing is at a normal pace, too slow, or whatever. Like, these are all things that I'm going to have to kind of accept that I am an imposter because I am not an antitrust attorney. I am not a lobbyist. I don't know how to do these jobs, but I signed up for it. And I think what I'm really good at in particular, I'm good at rallying people around a cause, I'm good at raising money. I mean, there's another organization that raises money for right to repair related things, and in about 8 or 9 years, they raised less than I did in 2 weeks. So there's a but so that's a success. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. So I've been going through that for a good portion of my day today. Stop spamming me. Okay, you're gone. Bye-bye. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what's in chat. You're an inspiration. My dream is to make a business like you. Love from Texas. Well, I hope you're successful. Hello, Aaron. How you doing? Hello, Sonia. I saw the video Steve Wozniak posted about right to repair and directed it to you and subscribed to your channel. Congrats. Thank you. Gleaming 999. See, that's what you got to be afraid of. And I'm learning that it's better that I be a little bit more on the cautious side. With my own staff, I'm concerned with being seen as a dick. But when it comes to these other jobs, when I don't have the ability to tell or notice immediately whether or not the work you're doing is good, I think my standards have to be higher, and I think I have to be a little quicker to criticize, even if I and be picky. My senator didn't give a shit when I sent through a video of the contractor the state hired using slurs publicly and shouting them. Yeah, New York City politicians suck. Thanks for the link to the guy that owns a shop that fixes Teslas. Oh, Rich is a cool guy. I mean that. Like, there are people on this platform that I've met where I would not let them pet my fucking cat. You know, they're nice on camera. They're an asshole off camera. They're an asshole to the people that work around them. Rich is the exact opposite. He's one of those people that I wish genuine success to. I hope his business is 10 times more successful than mine at the very least, because people like that deserve it. And also, he's fucking hysterical. Every time I hear that careless whisper flute, I lose my shit laughing. You guys know who watch this channel know what I mean. Don't tell me what to do. If you tell me what to do, you get timed out. You're not my dad. You're not my dad. Alright. I'm thinking of getting in a medical device, electronic repair. Probably start refurbishing old busted equipment. Huh. Can those excerpts from the lobbying efforts and being laughed at be made into an ad? Oh, that would be a quality ad. What do you think of setting up shop in Virginia? After seeing how Virginia is treating Chris in my Discord, nothing. Not really. No, has a little bit of a New York vibe to it. Not looking for a Department of Consumer Affairs version 2. No interest in that shit. Do you think the current IT field is oversaturated? In my opinion, which is not a professional opinion, yes. Yes, it is. So a lot of the people in IT were people who were building out infrastructure prior to everything being in the cloud. So a lot of infrastructure is moving to the cloud, which means that if when you have companies that are already providing and doing the maintenance, that means that there's less maintenance for you. B, a lot of crap is becoming easier. You don't need a print server so that 3 people could share a printer anymore. 3, a lot of the people that got into this, got into this back in the day when there was no Cat 5 wire run through buildings, and like there's a lot of I don't know. I think that it probably is oversaturated, and I don't expect that people that are going into getting into basic IT right now are going to see the return on investment you would have seen in, let's say, 2000 or 2005. But again, I clean corrosion on motherboards, so take that for what you will. I'm not a real IT person. I am, Renus. I would like to get out of New York. I'd like to do a bit of a road trip around the country, find a place where that I feel home, find a place that would make a good shop, meet some of the people there. It does, Aaron, but I don't know. I have to visit Tennessee to see if I want to live there. It makes sense for shipping, but again, it really does make sense for shipping. But I don't know necessarily if choosing the place that I want to live the rest of my life in because of shipping is what I want to do. Move to Texas. No. The property tax is too high, and the government's not willing to admit what the cause of their energy problems were. I already live in a state where the government doesn't want to admit the cause of their problems, and I don't want to move to the right-wing version of the government not wanting to admit the cause of their problems. I also don't want to move to the red version of New York. 2% property tax? Get out of here. Tennessee is the COVID capital of the U.S. I got COVID. I beat COVID. I got vaccinated. I'm good. I like COVID is not a consideration to me at all to where I move. I am not. Again, I got it. I got it. I beat it. I got vaccinated. I'm done. I'm done. I was watching your learning video and notice how much you've changed. Mostly your strong language. I don't know if I've changed like that. If I do move, it would definitely be to a state that did not do draconian lockdown measures. I would only move to an area where where the local government did not play dictator. Let's see. Florida has zero concept of DCA. You could charge to eat the laptops and they'd support it. I will check that out. Yeah. Florida is definitely a consideration. I just got to figure out what part of Florida. Someone in this chat the other day was saying I should visit Palm Beach. It's right by Fort Lauderdale, which I visited last time. She ain't here, though. Let's see. What do we got? I'm late to the party. How are things with Erica? I hope you're well. Erica and I have broken up. She is a lovely, lovely, kind, beautiful woman, and I want her to be happy with someone that makes her happy, and I don't believe that's me. Okay. Have you considered Orlando? Orlando is a cultural desert, so I don't think that I would want to go to Orlando. Also, the water in Orlando tasted like poison. The water in Orlando was actual genuine poison, so I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in Orlando. I would consider. I'm looking at Tampa, Fort Lauderdale area, or something like that. Like Tampa or the Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach area. What about Florida hurricanes? I haven't experienced one yet, but I'm sure once I experience one that I will be very, very... I'm sure if I experience a Florida hurricane, it would change my mind towards thinking it was great. I'm not going to Clearwater because Clearwater is filled with Scientology, and Scientology scares me. I fear Scientology. I fear very little in this world, but I fear Scientology. South Dakota has no income tax. Sioux Falls is an expanding city. I'll check out South Dakota. No, it is not a joke. Cool hang. That's not something funny to joke about. That's like not the type of joke that I make. You don't have to worry about hurricanes unless it gets to category 4 or 5. I haven't experienced any. If it's not hurricanes, it's earthquakes or tornadoes or wildfires or drought or something. There is no place you can move that is perfect. True, it's just which flaws are you open to? If you're in Central Florida, the hurricanes aren't always that bad, but there are still power outages with more storms. Jeez. Hi, Travis. How are you? Lamar, it's not an excuse. I support a business of 14 people. Suck my balls. You get timed out for being an asshole. Actually, you know what? I'll let it stay. You can be a bit of a prick. I'll give you one prick comment. Oh no, that was a joke, show. That video was an actual joke. That video was clearly a joke. This is serious. I was totally joking. That was 110%. Like, I don't give a fuck what computer somebody uses. This is. I had a conversation with her October of 2019, April 2020, April of this year, May of this year, and June of this year about certain lists of concerns where I don't think that we would be right for each other. And I think I gave it a bit more time than I should have. So I did my best to explain my concerns. And yeah. What makes it difficult is that every other woman that I've been with makes it very obvious by being very mean. Like, they've been mean-spirited. And that was my fault because I chose the wrong people. I was attracted to the wrong things. So when someone is very mean-spirited to you, it's very easy to break it off. But when somebody is a really nice and kind and caring person, but they're just not the right person for you, it's really difficult because you may have something last longer than it should because you don't hate them. Like, again, I had a woman, for instance, this was 10 years ago, and she said, I understand why your mother killed herself if she had a son like you. And I told her politely, get out of my apartment. And for like 6 months after she did that, she was crying, calling me, apologizing. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe I said that. And I never went out with her again. I never talked to her again. I blocked her because that's a boundary. You've been very mean. It makes it easy to leave you when you say something very mean. But with a woman like Eric, who's really kind-hearted, sweet, nice, like, you can tell there are certain things. I'm not going to list them on stream because it's none of your guys' fucking business, and I probably shouldn't even be talking about this to begin with. You can tell where it's fundamentally clear that we're roommates, not boyfriend and girlfriend. But like, you want to give it a chance because you're actually nice. Like, you're a good human being. And I appreciate that. But I genuinely, like, I have no ill will towards her. I wish her the best in life. She's an amazing human being. And I'm confident that she's going to find a guy that's 10 times better than me that makes her happy. He tried to contact Joe Rogan. Listen, I'm not offended by Joe Rogan. Like, to be clear, I'm not mad that Joe Rogan's show didn't get back to me. He interviewed Elon Musk, the richest person in the world, famous engineer. He interviewed Bernie Sanders, presidential candidate, Tulsi Gabbard, presidential candidate. He has so many famous people on his show. Again, I'm not saying that I'm not a good repair person or good at what I do. I'm just saying that I understand if in his inbox of people to have on a show, since he runs a show as a business, if having me on doesn't make sense. I'm not mad about that. And I've contacted them enough times that I realize at this point that they're not interested. So I'm not going to keep spamming them because when I get spam over and over again from people that I don't like, that annoys me. And I don't want to annoy him because Joe Rogan's never done anything to disrespect or aggravate me, and I enjoy his show. So I made my request a few times over the years, and I didn't hear back, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm not mad. I like his show. Don't be crushed, Paul. Don't be crushed. You belong on Timcast. I also contacted Timcast. Again, I get a lot of shit in my comments because, like, I don't know, Timcast is a right-wing stooge, blah. Listen, I don't care. I don't give a shit if I disagree with his politics on 90% of issues. I don't care. What I care about is getting right to repair out in front of more people. I don't give a shit. I care about building the widest coalition in the world. I don't care if people in my audience dislike him. But I reached out to Tim Pool, and I reached out to, I think, the assistant of his show a while back, and I emailed, and I never heard back. So again, I'm not going to keep spamming people. Like, I will, once I know that you've seen my message, or that people in my audience have super chatted you or something and said have me on, and I don't hear back, I respect that. You have other things you're working on. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to spam you. I will just leave it as it is. And if at some point they reach out to me and say they'd like to be on the show, then yeah, I'll consider being on the show. Now, again, admittedly, like, I don't want to be an asshole. I'm not going to show up on a show with someone that has 5 subscribers if it's a 2-hour long podcast, because that's not really going to get things moving. But if someone with a sizable audience says, I want to have you on your show, I am more than happy to put them on. I'm more than happy to take the time out of my day to be on the show. Travis, it is what it is. It is what it is. Been trying to reach you regarding your car's extended warranty. You deserve a ban, but you just got me to smile, so you're not going to get a ban. Hamster, that was strange because I thought we were going to have some personal time together, and then I saw her talking to a stream. Let's see. Let's see. Very. Thank you, Andre. Thank you. Oh, I would accept it 100%, Lamar. If he contacted me to join the show, absolutely. Because again, I'm all about getting Right to Repair out to more people. That's what I want to do. So I will speak to virtually anybody about it if they have an audience that's willing to listen. And I think Joe Rogan would be willing to listen to something like this. If I got invited on, I'd be happy to talk about Right to Repair with him. But Rich Benoit from Rich Rebuilds has been on the show and gotten the concept of Right to Repair across to the audience. So it may be duplicate content to have me on, because Rich and I would have a lot of the same things to say. I appreciate you opening up, especially since that wasn't our business. May your next be healthy for you. Thank you, Shosho. I really appreciate that. Joe Rogan says he reached Twitter. We need to tweet at him. No, don't spam him. Don't spam people. Here's the thing. When audiences spam the fuck out of a content creator, when someone's audience spams them, it makes them hate them. So like when I get spam, when I see 90 comments in a row spam me on a random live stream saying, check out this person, check this out, my lizard brain doesn't want to check it out. It wants to do the opposite. Maybe it's, defiant personality disorder or something. I don't know what it's called, but like, don't spam people. How far behind am I? I'm reading a message from 11:09 and it's 11:11. Okay, cool. Forgot. Did you talk to Rakita Law? I don't remember. I gotta see. I think I had him on my list, but I have to double check to make sure I sent an email. I am not a fan of fast food, Limar. I despise fast food. Okay, so Stossel actually reached out to me. Not Stossel as assistant, but I fucked up there maybe a little bit. So I Googled him. I saw that he's on Fox News. And to be clear, I'm not biased against Fox or MSNBC or CNN. I hate them all equally. It's because they have these clips that are like 2 minutes long where where everybody's speaking over each other and it sucks balls and they deceptively edit shit. So I just said, listen, my experience with traditional media has been that you have two people speaking over each other, and then they deceptively edit what you say. If we have a conversation, I'm happy to have it, but will you commit to me that you're going to release everything that I say and not just a section of it? And I never heard back from his assistant again. So I likely offended their assistant. Either A, they would have deceptively edited it, or B, they wouldn't have deceptively edited it, but they were offended at the fact that I assumed that would happen. But my experiences with mainstream media have not particularly been positive in the past, so I'm a little bit on guard with it now. How many of us have contacted the DCA? Okay, let me edit what I just said. It's okay to spam the DCA. If you want to spam, I don't mind that. If you okay, I shouldn't say it's okay. It's probably illegal. I don't. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. I don't personally care if the DCA gets spammed because they still haven't gotten back to my effing email. I still don't know how to be in compliance with the summons that so I got a summons. I still don't know how to be in compliance with the regulation they're claiming exists. And they won't tell me! Ah! Anyway, here's what it is. Some pie for right to repair. Mandrake gave $3.14. Thank you. 3.1415962. Is that it? Mental Outlaw featured you in his latest video. I will try to remember to look at that at the end. When this stream is done, if you could do me the large favor, if you're still here, of leaving that as a comment, I do actually read my comments. In your 60-second video explaining right to repair, I think you should have specifically mentioned hospital beds and tractors. I had 60 seconds, and I was doing my best to get it out in 60 seconds. Now, granted, I did it in 57, so I possibly could have done more. But when I said in every other industry, I mean, I said medical. You said mention hospital beds. I said medical. I had 60 seconds, man. Like, everybody's going to say I should have said something different. I had 60 seconds. Or like when I testify at those hearings, I get 90 seconds before a little buzzer goes off. So you do what you do. But I'm trying to get around that now by hiring lobbyists that speak to them beforehand. I want to deal. I want the lobbyists are going to deal with the politicians in some way, shape, or form and explain the issues to them and try to build a coalition beforehand, so that I'm not trying to build a coalition once it gets to a hearing, which by then it's way too late. What are the options of funding non-U.S. entities to expand the right to repair? I know you were looking, but there were legal issues. Oh, Paul, what I wanted to do, so Paul Daniels is doing something where he added a feature to his software. Paul Daniels added a feature to his software where you could submit diode mode readings from motherboards so that you had a known good board. You could have, in the software, you could have a known good diode mode readings to measure your board against. You could try to figure out where the problem is. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get Paul Daniels a grant from the 501c3, not the C4. So this wouldn't be GoFundMe money. This would be money from another wealthy donor that donated to this. I wanted to get Paul Daniels a grant to be able to give out some multimeters and some foot pedals to a bunch of people that would contribute. And I totally dropped the ball on that and didn't ask the lawyer because I'm a piece of shit. Please, Discord, please message me again in Discord because I got to do that tomorrow. I actually have to do that first thing tomorrow morning. And I also have to send some paperwork to that same attorney. I was watching a Skinwalker Ranch on history and somebody needs to explain iPhone goes touch to them. I was about to yell at the TV. Give them my email. How about Wyoming or Montana? Wyoming is very empty. Stossel is done with Fox. Yeah, I kind of fucked up on that. I'll admit it. I fucked up in that email. I thought I was being polite. I tried to be polite, but yeah, I kind of fucked up. Would you ever do a video about the fact that stuff brought in the Soviet Union usually came with schematics included? No, but if you have an article on that, I would be open to it. What's your opinion on upcoming Windows 11? I haven't tried it. I haven't heard of it. I have no idea about anything. It bugs Tim Pool when someone's fans spam him. I've seen it. Yes, and it bugs me when people spam too, which is why I ask my audience not to spam people. Why not go on Kennedy on Fox Business? For the same reason that I don't marry a Kennedy or go on Joe Rogan. Because how the fuck do you get on Fox Business? Like, how? Yeah, I mean, people act like it's hitting a button. I've contacted almost every major news station like 3 or 5 times. I personally have spammed the shit out of them. But I'll try again for you. Thank you for fighting for right to repair. The imposter is sus. Nope, they're going to edit it. Man. I get it, U.S. News. I get it. Your pillowcases don't match. They don't match. You are correct. I have to get rid of all these extra pillows I have here now. Consider you reaching out to the Young Turks. Sagar and Crystal. Sagar actually emailed me today. So I had emailed them a while back. And Sagar emailed me today. I'm going to try to set something up to be on his news show. So I think what may have happened is when I emailed the Hill about showing up on Rising, that may have been when they were leaving the Hill. It shouldn't be too hard to find a writer, Lord Haven. You're not in bed with me, damn head humpers. You're in bed with me and Oreo. Sounds like you just have to record purchases that with a transaction value of $0. Yeah, but like I need them to confirm that for me. I need them to tell me this. I need the DCA to not just, I'm not going to assume that I understand their bullshit interpretation of the law. I need to know what their interpretation of the law actually is, because I'm not risking it again. Because if I get fined again, then they can actually give me there's no settlement. It'll be the straight up $15,000. So what I did is I took that license out of the window and I no longer sell laptops. I just said, fuck it. I'm taking my ball and going home. I can't afford it. I can't afford 15K out the window because of that. No. At the beginning, Lamar. Cat, stop that. Barry. She does this thing when she gets scared where she smashes her paws into my face with her claws open. So as long as Blackberry's over here, I have to have my hand very close to my eyes in case she gets skittish. She gets scared in a way that Mr. Clinton and Oreo don't, and when she does, she turns my face into a scratching post. I don't think I ever heard you brainstorm when giving speeches like etc. Always clear and coherent, unlike most politicians. Yeah, but that's a problem. I talk too fast. Honestly, if I'm being honest about where I got that from, my mother was very manipulative and she used to interrupt constantly while talking. So I had to figure out how to get my thought out before she would interrupt me or speak over me. And that required that I learn how to speak very fast and without uhing or umming, because anytime I would go or stop, she would immediately start speaking and then start lying and bullshitting and just making shit up. So I think that the experience that I had with my mother made me a much better public speaker because it forced me to be able to speak very stream of consciousness without any fillers. No no ums, no like, none of that. I don't speak with any of that. And I really think I got that from dealing with my mother. Don't time me out. Good to hear Sagar hit you up. I'm happy. Yeah, hopefully I can get on the show soon. Do you have advice on how to handle burnout from working too much? You have to set up your business at some point where at this level of quality, you could not show up and everything is okay. And then see, a lot of people get into this thing where they think they need to do a bunch of work that they don't actually need to do because they're being control freaks. If you do leave New York, you should get a dog. That's too much change for me. Envious Frenchie, I mean, that's obviously going to happen. I mean, you had legions of people lose their jobs, lose their financial stability. It's only natural that there's going to be a bunch of increased crime. I don't know why you're gutted for me, Pedro. Life is good. I have a good life that I am very grateful for. Also, thank you for the ass, or Australian $5, as it says. Nicole says, Lewis, there are better days ahead. Keep your head up and fighting for right to repair. Rossman Repair Group and the right to operate a legitimate business in New York City. Thank you very much, Nicole Valerie. I really appreciate that. And thank you very much to Pedro. Thank you, everybody, honestly. All right, let's see. You're a New Yorker? Everyone will say you talk too fast who isn't a New Yorker. Ooh, Jay Norton. Thank you for giving me an excuse to ban somebody. Let's see. Will this work on my phone? Eh? Oh, see, the YouTube app fucks up so badly. Here we go. Okay, you're out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Low quality shit content. You gone, bitch. Alright, next. You definitely speak clearly. I can watch your videos at 2x speed. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I don't do a lot of editing. I do very, very minimal editing. I try to avoid it altogether. Now, Rafflecopter goes swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. JT, stop that. Stop that. That's not right. That's not right, JT. That's not right. Blackberry, you're not going to hit me in the eyeball. Lamar, that's a generation ago. So all the people that go, I'm walking here, forget about it, they have moved. They're gone. You're thinking of the old Irish and Italian like base that made up New York. They are gone. That culture is stuck on a small corner of Jersey Shore, a tiny bit of Howard Beach, and maybe some sections of Staten Island, if even. But yeah, that's a dying breed. Would you consider a pet cougar as the Right to Repair mascot? I'm not going to go out there and date an older woman just to have a trophy for Right to Repair. That's kind of fucked up. Correct, Anel, but I said something when you had said about having a problem with your license when I mentioned it on Creation social media. Maybe NYC Reddit. Blackberry, stop that. I'm here to shield my eyeball. She actually scratched like right here. She almost got in my eyeball and blinded me. So I sleep with sunglasses on now. But I don't want to put sunglasses on because I want to be able to read this. Another, I'm not answering the same question over and over again. Goatsy, don't, no, you stop that. I know exactly where you're going with that fucking conversation. You stop that. XPYR, I unfortunately cannot keep repeating myself because that's just annoying. I appreciate your question, I just can't keep repeating the answer. Let's see. An actual cougar, no. Put clear contacts on, no. Jangle, stop using the word milking in this chat. I know where you're all going and you cut that shit out. You cut that shit out. I'm joining a gym. I have terrible self-control and get distracted easily. Any recommend on how to stay motivated when I always feel like a piece of shit? Keep a journal of your thoughts and also keep a journal as you're exercising and just try to always beat the last week, even if by a little bit. You're only competing with yourself. You're not competing with everybody else at the gym. You're literally just competing with where you were before. That's it. And also, you're not even just competing with your past self. You're competing with where your future self would have been if you did nothing. So even if you actually go, let's say you go up and then you plateau and then you go down a little. Well, if you didn't work out at all, you would have done this. So you're not competing with anybody. And I tell this to anybody that gets into working out or anybody that I'm dating that wants to exercise. You're not competing with other people. You're not competing with me. You're looking at your past self. And anytime you feel bad about the results of your exercise, just think of what would have happened if you didn't work out. Maybe you would have just gotten worse. But since you worked out, you stayed the same. You know, it helps if you're getting older. There's no shame, and there's no shame in not being the strongest or the prettiest or any of that crap at the gym. I remember Erica told me a while ago that she had an ex that was a bodybuilder, and he would tell her that you're wasting your, I'm not going to work out with you, you're wasting my time. And it's like, what a fucking piece of shit. You know, like, you should be happy that your girlfriend wants to spend time with you and work out. Like when Erica would, in the rare occasion that I could get her to work out, I was happy. I was ecstatic. I'd give her a hug, I'd pick her up, say good job. I actually kept a journal for her of all the exercise that she did and the progress that she'd make each time she exercised. You got to encourage people. And I remember looking this guy up on Instagram. Oh my God, what a bitch. So he weighs what I weigh. He benches 215 for a set of 3, and he doesn't even touch his chest. What a bitch. I do 225 for a set of 9. And again, I'm not trying to brag here. I'm not trying to like say, oh, look, I'm so much. But when you tell your girlfriend, I'm not working out with you because I'm so much better at working out that you waste my time, and you bench less than a fucking MacBook repairman, you a straight up bitch. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, what you do when you're exercising to keep yourself motivated, you simply contrast yourself to where you were the last week. Keep a journal. It's the best way to see. Because most people, they don't remember. They don't realize the progress because it's so fucking slow. It's like last week I could do 8 bench press at 225. This week I did 8.5. And then the next week I did 9. Like, it's small progress, so you're not going to notice this shit if you're not writing it down. So write it down. Write it down. Like since 2 years ago, 2 years ago at this time, I was 189 pounds. Right now I'm 164, and I can lift more than I did at 188 to 189. But it takes a really long fucking time. It takes a really long time, and it's slow, and it's miserable, and it's aggravating. What you have to do is you have to keep thinking to yourself, if I didn't do this, I'd be worse. So let's say I'm 188 pounds, and 2 weeks later, I'm still 188 pounds. What I tell myself is, if I didn't do this, maybe I'd be 194 pounds this week. Maybe I'd be worse. If you're doing the work, even if you don't see it, you're better off than you would have if you didn't do anything at all. John, because I don't know how to get them on those shows. If they're not okay, firstly, why don't hire a lobbyist to get on Rogan or Tim Pool? Rogan and Tim Pool's shows, in my opinion, you could tell me if you think I'm wrong, are very populist in nature. They had Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders on. They didn't have Trump or Joe Biden. So if they're not going to have me on the show, there's no way in fuck they're going to have some paid-for lobbyist on the show to speak for me. I disagree with the bodybuilder space cowboy. If your girl wants to lift weights with you, never tell her that it's a waste of your fucking time. You find a way to fit her in. Obviously, yeah, she's going to lift a little slower if she's never lifted before, and you're going to be lifting different than she is. You carve out the fucking time. If your girlfriend walks up to you and says, I want to lift weights with you, you make the fucking time. You make the time. Like anytime Erica would say, I want to lift weights with you, or I want to work out with you, absolutely, come on by. I'll finish my routine before you get here so we can spend time on yours. You know what a fucking unicorn it is to have a girl that wants to lift with you? To lift with you? Competing with yourself is the way forward, yes. Do you think a personal trainer is worth it? It is worth it to an extent. There's diminishing returns once you get past a certain point, in my opinion, but it is most certainly, it's worth it. So for instance, for me, I had a tear in my quadricep. I was not going to overcome that properly without a personal trainer. And having a personal trainer was the difference between me finally giving up and saying, I'm going to get surgery because I don't think this is going to work, and me being able to deadlift 300 pounds for a set of 7 or 8 and not having any pain in my leg. And that is something that was very helpful for me. That was something that I really appreciate. And it was something that was worth the value. Lewis, look up the Murph Challenge. 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats, all with a 20-pound weight vest. I'll check it out, Deplorable. And Blackberry, don't go by my eyes. Bad Blackberry. Blackberry. Tim Pool mentions right to repair, but they are mostly afraid of losing their current top spot. How would they lose their top spot by mentioning right to repair? That I don't understand. Trump is a fake populist, not a real populist. He pretended to be populist. He was very good at pretending. It's like really, really good at pretending. He put Steve Mnuchin in the Treasury. Like, come on. He's good at playing the part. He's one of those dudes that I think is, like, he's good at going on TV, riling people up, getting people interested. I honestly think he may have one of the same problems I do, which is I'm good at getting people to think about right to repair, care about right to repair, enjoy right to repair, but then when I actually have to interface with the FTC to make on rulemaking and coming up with antitrust framework and shit, it's like, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I could try, but it's not my thing. I mean, I can try. I can go and find people to do that stuff. And I think Trump is like he gets on TV and says all this shit, but then he runs his administration in a way that is different. For instance, take the tariff shit. I don't want large businesses to destroy small businesses. You shouldn't have a corrupt elite class. But then he put in place a 25% tariff on China that you can get around if you file an exemption when it first comes out. So it's very possible on many different goods that my competitors and Amazon are not paying tariffs that I had to pay. So Amazon may actually not be paying a 25% tariff on certain goods that I pay the tariff on because I started selling those goods after that period had expired. However, a large vendor that already sells all that shit will be able to apply for that stuff while it's there. I could go on for days, and I'm not going to because it's going to make people really mad. But I wouldn't put Trump in the same category as, let's say, Ron Paul when it comes to this. Like, Ron Paul is one of those people where if he got in, I actually do think he would just take the Department of Defense and just start dismantling it and all that shit. He's crazy enough to do it. Guys need to not discourage women from working out. Yeah, it pissed me off when she told me about it. Like, you have an ex that tells you it's a waste of time to work out with you. Fuck him. And fuck, like, I showed her on Instagram. This dude lifts less than a MacBook repairman because she seemed kind of sad about it. And I said, watch. And he did 215 for a set of 3. I put 215 on and I did almost did a set of 9 or 10. It's like, don't listen to this asshole. There's no such thing as a waste of time working out with you. If you have a girlfriend that says, I want to live with you, you fucking lived with her. And you make the time for it. I'd love to see Lewis and Rich do something together. Maybe. I agree, Restcure. Trump is a quality salesman. I've actually learned quite a bit from it. My wife lost 20 kilograms biking 15 miles every day. You used metric for weight and American for distance? Huh? I can't keep answering the same question, Jazz. So let's see. AVE would absolutely support right to repair, but I don't think he's ever done an interview. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have a chance of making that happen either. I like AVE though. He's a good dude. I still say a Paul S. cameo in a Rich Lewis video would be funny. Yeah, every time I watch Rich Rebuilds and I hear that careless whisper flute, I lose my shit. I absolutely lose my shit. That one where he's going on a Tinder date and then the mom shows up and oh my god. That was hysterical. Canada uses miles and kilos. That doesn't make sense. You're either with America or against America. Now, I don't mind if you're with or against America, but it does not make sense to use miles and kilograms. What do you think about Governor Ron DeSantis, as Nicole Valerie? I think that he tries very hard to be a mini Trump, but here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say about Ron DeSantis. Regardless of a lot of his politics or stances on a number of issues, I honestly don't follow them all. I have a great deal of respect for Ron DeSantis for not becoming a simp in 2020 when the media was shitting on him for not shutting down his state. He treated his citizens like they were adults. He didn't treat them like they were children that needed to be locked away. And I have a great appreciation for Ron DeSantis for doing that. That doesn't mean I approve of everything Ron DeSantis does. That doesn't mean I like his personality. That doesn't mean that I may agree with him on many of the policies that he puts out there. And I'm not educated on all of his policies because I'm not a resident of Florida. Since I'm not a resident of Florida, I'm not invested in knowing all the policies. But what I'm saying is I have a level of respect for Ron DeSantis for not turning his state into a prison. And I have a level, and the end of the day, the numbers appear to dictate that even in some of the dense, it's not like, again, Florida has about 20 million people. New York is around 20 million people. When you look at it, it's a similar size. And the death rate there was not horrible. It really wasn't that bad in contrast to a lot of the neighboring states. I'm not saying that death is okay. I'm not saying, like, when I say not horrible, I'm not saying that a death happening is not horrible, because I know someone's going to twist that shit. I'm saying in contrast to a lot of the other states, it wasn't horrible, and he didn't run the state like a dictatorship. So I don't have to agree with all of his policies. I don't have to like him as a human being. But my standard after 2020 has been, the bar is so low now. It's so low that all I ask from a governor is don't imprison the people in your state. And like that's really one of my basic asks. So in that sense, I have a base level of respect for him, even if I don't particularly like him. Thank you, Kenneth Hudgens, for the $5. And I want to be clear that I don't know a lot of his policies because I don't live in Florida. I'm ignorant of his policies, and I'm ignorant of the effects that his policies have had on the state because I don't live there. I really only hear about the broad strokes because I don't live there. So take that with the grain of salt that you should take it with. They don't, Delta Breaker. So one thing to understand here, because there's this idea that Republicans are anti-right to repair, and that's not true. In Nebraska, and I don't remember the name of the senator, but you could find it. I did a video that said he took their job, or they took her jobs, something like that, with the South Park meme. And there was a libertarian and a Democrat in Nebraska that literally laughed. They laughed us out of the room. They laughed us out of the room, and they didn't support right to repair. And a Republican gentleman ran in their place, and he won. And then after he won, he co-sponsored the right to repair bill in Nebraska. So a Republican won, and they co-sponsored the bill. And by the way, the original co-sponsor of right to repair in Nebraska was Lydia Brash, who's also a Republican. So this really isn't about party lines. It's about politicians that understand the problem and don't, or politicians who are paid to not understand the problem, if you know what I'm saying. It's really not a Democrat versus a Republican issue. Muck546 decided to completely strawman me, which is totally expected from a shitty YouTube comment section. I know about AV. Yes, I do. Yeah, you have to expect a shitty strawman from YouTube comment sections. Let's see. You have inspired me for the past 4 years. I was slogging through college and even now got a job in the field. Thank you for your content. Love the rants. I don't know how you would get a job in the IT field from these videos because I'm a janitor. I'm a motherboard janitor. I'm not an IT person. But I appreciate that. Thank you. In school and let's see. Excuse me. The state of Victoria in Australia has had 4 lockdowns. Yeah, I couldn't fuck with Australia after seeing that. No. I'm in lockdown here in Sydney. Again? It's 2021! What are we talking about? Have you thought about starting your own podcast? I guess this is it, really. Like, I have my main YouTube channel where I talk about specific core issues that I think are noteworthy. And then I have this channel where I just kind of yell into my camera when I'm kind of shooting time away. But yeah, this is my experiment with it, Nicole Valerie. What do you mean, Nicole? So when you say, would you start a podcast, do you mean like on a different platform? Do you mean having a specific structure for topics? Do you mean doing regular interviews? Do you mean having a call-in show? Let me know what you mean by that. I'm very curious. Stan is still in use for those crazy fans, especially for... I don't know what that means. Justin from the Better Biomed channel said he sent you some audio gear a while back. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. But just to be clear, I've also called my employees by the wrong name for like the first 3 to 6 months that they work here. So when it comes to names, I'm not very sure. Derna 1804. It's the Libertarian Party. Look up Aaron Comey. He tried to hijack an airplane. I say tried because he failed to. He spent about 10 or 15 years in a mental institution, and when he got out, he ran for mayor in New York City. Libertarian Party couldn't find anybody else to run for mayor. Like that should tell you all you need to know. Another available name? I don't know what you mean. I don't think I have any Sims. I have viewers, and I have some creepy fans, but for the most part, no Sims. If I didn't laugh, I'd cry. Philosophy has helped me so much with school, COVID, and has generally changed my life. Thank you. But that came from my dad. Imposter, says Ram. Why, thank you. My dad taught me that. Your hair is gray. Yes. It's also different cameras, different camera angles. So for instance, if I put conditioner in my hair and I comb my hair for some reason, if I use that instead of just walk outside, I look like I have way less grays. It's weird, but it's the way things work on camera. I've started caring a bit less about that stuff recently. I'm gray. I'm old. I get it. My sister loves you and your content. Thank you, Clash. I'm aware. I'm old. I'm aging. I age poorly. Blackberry. Do I age? Ow. Blackberry? Blackberry? You're not going to fuck up my eyeball now, are you? Because I need to use this finger to scroll. Fine, I'll scroll with my right finger and I'll block Blackberry with my left hand. Did you hear about a famous entrepreneur who's dumbfound the avionics module cost 50K for an exchange for a 5-cent resistor? No, please comment. Comment on the video once the stream is done with the name of it so that I can look into it. Delta got here and younger people on ventilators here. I'm not fucking around with Rona, but because I have blood clotting, you just have to wait. So one of the things I was reading, and Aaron posted this a while back, he posted a study that showed that the Delta variant, the vaccines that we have in America at least, the Pfizer and the Moderna, they're actually more effective at reducing hospitalizations among people that get the Delta variant than people that got original COVID. So the vaccine that I got is more effective in reducing hospitalizations among COVID-21 than it is COVID-19. So for me, at the very least, me personally, I'm done. Like even before the vaccine was a thing, 25 to 34, no pre-existing conditions, 5 people died. And I have a vaccine. Like I got COVID, I'm in the demographic that's never going to have an issue with this, and I got the vaccine. So I'm at this point like just no. I'm not locking my business or any of that. Like no. If other people want to stay in, I completely respect their decision to do so. I'm not going to laugh at them. I'm not going to say anything. I'll wear a mask around them if whatever. But like, I'm not going to. Like I'm not locking myself down after that. Yeah, in the beginning, I wore a mask. I socially distanced. I didn't see my dad for a year. I didn't see people that I knew. I separated. I didn't go to restaurants. All that stuff I did. It's July 2021. Vaccines have been out. It's very clear the efficacy of the vaccine in stopping COVID. Like I did what I could. Any kind of podcast, either live or pre-recorded. Nicole, can I tell you a secret, Nicole? You're watching a podcast right now. But this doesn't really have a topic to it. Your dark circles are less post-Florida. Maybe. That was actually a very stressful vacation because of the car accident and not knowing if insurance was going to screw me. I got my check in the mail, so now I know that they're not going to screw me, but that vacation was more stressful than it should have been, and I didn't do a lot of what I wanted to do because of that stress. Any recommendations for a gaming computer? I'm ignorant on computers. I'm ignorant on gaming. I have an RTX 2080, and I use it to play Street Fighter 4, so you're asking the wrong guy. I would say build it yourself. Watch Gamers Nexus. Watch the dude at Gamers Nexus. He knows what he's talking about. When it comes to gaming computers, if I had watched Gamers Nexus channel, I wouldn't have bought that piece of shit Enermax Threadripper water cooler that fucking corrodes and stops working. So watch Gamers Nexus. I learned early on that if I had actually watched Gamers Nexus stuff, I would have built a computer that wasn't a steaming piece of shit. Read my DM if you have a chance, says Kayvon. YouTube doesn't have DMs anymore. They got rid of DMs in about 2017. So I have about 5 different email addresses. I have Discord. I have Twitter. I don't know where you sent it. So if you tell me where it went, I can read it. Also, if you post it here, I read it. But if you tell me it's on some other platform, it's going to go off into an abyss somewhere. So if you post it here, I'll read it. But if you post read my DM, I can't read that. So if you post and you say, like, here's my message, I'll read it. But if you post saying read my message without posting the message, then it's going to go nowhere. Not because I don't want to read it, but just because that's the way of the world. Clash of Clans says, Lewis, Nicole Valerie is pretty. Say to her, I said that she's pretty. That's kind of weird, man. You're getting kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Little on the strange side, my friend. That's one of the weird things. See, Nicole said if I do another meetup in Fort Lauderdale or Palm Beach area that she'd like to attend. But what you're doing right there is you're causing women to not want to attend. So when I did a meetup in Fort Lauderdale, we had about like 27 men, 1 woman. 1 woman. Don't be the dude that keeps them from showing up. This channel has anywhere from 0.5% to 3% female viewership. Don't reinforce that. Don't reinforce that. It is very difficult to get women to watch this type of content. Even with Jessa, her channel has less females watching than me, and she's a woman! Lewis, you look better with some gray hair. If anything, it emphasizes experience and wisdom. Thank you. That's very nice of you, actually. Thank you. SoCal, again, Ron DeSantis does nothing. That's what you said. Ron DeSantis does nothing. That's all I'm asking him to do. Do nothing. Do nothing. If Cuomo had been asleep for the past 16 months, we would have been better off. If Cuomo had been in a fucking cryogenic freezer, this state would have been better. That's what I appreciate. Do nothing. Leave us alone. Thank you. That's a great job. Be respectful, son. Do you ever check your subreddit? I have a couple of people that have made separate ones for me. So I don't even think I made that subreddit. I didn't I don't even know if I have one, but if I do, it's not because I made it. I made a repair standard subreddit. So I do check the repair standard subreddit from time to time because I want to start getting involvement in that. But I have not checked mine because I don't even think it's mine because it's somebody else that made it with my name. What's Discord all about? I keep hearing about it. Nicole, so if you look on my main channel videos, the one, let's say a board repair video, not the normal ones because I screw up the descriptions. In the board repair videos, there will be a link to a Discord. And if you don't have it, you can email me at lewis@rossmangroup.com and I will send you a link to the Discord server once I am done with this. Yeah, you can email me and I will send you a link to it. But it's a Discord that's open to anybody. And because I am a shitty YouTube content creator, I don't put it in the description of all my videos, and often the links expire because I'm an ass. Any updates to the license? Yep, I did a video. Let's see, what do we have? You'd rock the bald head. No, I'm not for it. Top Cat, I've said that before, and the amount of shit that I got after saying that ensures that I'm just staying away from that topic. I'm just saying, I make free board repair education that anybody can watch. It's free. Anybody can watch and use it to fix their own stuff. Nothing is hidden, and the numbers are what they are. I leave it at that. No worries, Ahmed. No worries. No bad feelings at all. Sonia, my issue with him is not so much that stuff, even though that did aggravate me. In the long term, if I'm running an organization that's looking to push right to repair forward, I need to put my petty grievances with people aside. I cannot let my petty grievances get in the way of people. So I mentioned Northridge Fix on a list of people that was somewhat competent at one point, and I actually got a list of people, I shit you not, they actually signed a petition and told me to remove his name from it because he's done unsafe repairs. One of them uses wire that's over 44 gauge for a main battery line, and he doesn't even double up on it. Like main battery line to the machine, 44 gauge or up. And I've gotten some shit for that. But yeah, regardless of whether or not someone's had heavy criticism of me or doesn't like me, I made the decision to run an organization that lobbies on behalf of people in this industry. So I gave up the right to allow petty grievances to keep me from having conversations with people, even if they've been critical of me, even if they said nasty or mean things about me. That's not my. I don't have that privilege or that right. I don't have that right anymore. Are you worried people are going to join the in-person classes to fanboy you, or are you less worried about other people helping teach? I have had 0 signups, so I'm mostly worried that I spent a few $1,000 on a bunch of equipment and desks for nothing. But we'll see. How to grow in your career as an introvert. At some point, you're going to have to decide what you hate more. Speaking to people, or being broke and nobody knowing that you're talented. I put on a blue polo shirt and I went to an Apple store and I spoke to people. That's not something that I was really good at, but I knew that I was very knowledgeable. I knew I could offer good service. I knew nobody knew who I was, and I knew that when I was that broke with nobody who knew who I was, I had to do something dramatic to get attention. And one of the things I did is I would speak to people who seemed pissed while they were waiting in line or waiting for service, and I'd say, hey, okay, here's what I would do. Here's what I think. Just so you know, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you watching. Just so you know, I don't fucking work here, but here's my number. And that actually worked. At some point, you'll hate being poor more than you hate speaking to other people. And for me, when I was at true rock bottom, when I was at I'm living in a place filled with termites, I got no future, I have no legacy, I've worked for years, I have no savings and nothing to show for it. Yeah, again, you'll hate getting outside of being introverted way less than you hate being poor. That was what worked for me. I don't know if that will work for you. Oh, BlackBerry views going up already. Yes, they do go up. Thank you, Nicole. They love my little kitty. They love this little girl. She's my kitty cat. She's an adorable, beautiful little girl. You're my BlackBerry. She's kind of closer to being a grandma, honestly. She is almost 12 years old. Are you licking my head? Are you serious? No way. You're licking my head. I didn't consent to this. I feel violated. I'm not going to get any more cats. I really only plan to have one. Actually, I plan to have 0. Then I had a mouse, so I got 1. Then that cat got lonely, so I got 2. Then Oreo showed up outside my place, so now I have 3. And I got to offload Oreo onto somebody. I feel like life is meaningless, yet somewhat enjoyable. What about you? Well, you have to make the meaning in your own life. The way you make meaning in your life is by creating a narrative, creating a story that means something to you, and living your story. What means what it's not your life is going to have meaning as much meaning as you assign to it. I think that's why I give myself stress. Oreo is gone somewhere. I think one of the reasons that I take on as many things as I do is because I feel a sense of great anxiety when I'm not doing something that gives me meaning. You think someone would want Oreo if he's not trained? Of course not. That's why somebody threw him away. They saw him shitting everywhere and they're like, screw this. They tossed him out in the street. We actually had the vet call Oreo's original owner and they had no interest in him. They never got back because they didn't want someone that shits everywhere. You think it's important to be A+ certified? I think A+ is garbage. That's as someone that paid $350 for it. A+ is genuine garbage. Nobody gives a fuck how many Firewire ports you daisy chain. Nobody gives a shit how many pins are in the processor of a Pentium 3. Useless trash. If there's a job out there that will only hire you if you have an A+, that means they're a bad employer with a bad human resources department and you don't want to work there because they value the wrong things. I don't know what you mean by do right to repair. Right to repair is not a verb. It's a legislative agenda, and it's a philosophy and an ideology. You can't do an ideology. Is it possible to send a cat to Hawaii? You know, Garfield always used to send Odie the cat to Abu Dhabi. I'll consider sending him to Abu Dhabi. Maybe he could help with the OPEC talks. Excuse me. You know, I gotta get back to sick codes. I barely understand you through your sick Staten Island accent. You can gargle my balls, iPad Rehab. I think he would, Aaron. I think he's on board with it completely. I've been on his channel before. You know what's weird is I started watching Dave when he had like 200,000 subscribers and I had 0. That's how you know that we live in an unfair world. I have more subscribers than Dave Jones. That's not earned. Dave Jones is more talented than I am. He's a better educator than I am. He's smarter than I am. He's accomplished more than I have. He's funnier. And I have twice the subscribers that he does. That makes no fucking sense. No sense whatsoever. But I would be honored, humbled, and happy to be on any show with Dave Jones in it. Because he's a good dude. He knows what he's doing. He has a good audience. He's authoritative in his field. And he inspires people to get into doing this. I don't know if he has me beat. I just think I make more liberal use of the paper shredder, Aaron. Yes, Ahmed. Yes. What are the positives of failures and setbacks in life? The positives are that if you didn't have the failures and the setbacks, you wouldn't have gotten where you are. So I have failed in ways that are really stupid. But the thing is, a lot of people criticize people who fail, but the people doing the criticizing are often not doing anything worthwhile with their life. And what I learn as I get older is I failed a lot, but the reason I failed a lot is because I was willing to do something. And a lot of people are not willing to do something because they're afraid of everything has to be done safely. There are people in my life, and Jessa knows exactly who the fuck I'm talking about because we both had to deal with this, where they will explain every single thing that I'm doing wrong, And then when I say, okay, do it properly, I say, I'll pay you to do it properly. 8 months later, they have bupkis. Or 4 months after the fact, they'll have a 10% done presentation when it's no longer needed. It's crazy you haven't had anybody sign up for your class. Nicole, the subscriber number is mostly people who don't care about board repair. Nobody gives a shit about board repair. I get so many comments from people virtue signaling about how they care about the board repair. I'm only here for board repair. As they put their other button up on their polo shirt and pretend to be all Victorian and shit. I don't want to hear this BS content about New York. I don't want to listen to you rant about the news. I only want the board repair. They don't care. They don't care. They're embarrassed to admit that they're just here to listen to some jackass New Yorker talk and talk about New York real estate. But nobody watches that shit. Like, those videos don't even break 10K. I'll still keep doing them. I will continue to do them, but they don't even break 10K. I'm here for the vegan cooking and I only got one. I have to unlist that at some point. That's embarrassingly bad. I agree, Christian. Yeah, Sick Codes does really good work. I admire Sick Codes' work. I'm not very clear with the message that he wants to get across to the public because I've spoken to him and Kevin and I've said, if there's one thing that you think needs to be highlighted that is not being highlighted by the media, what's the message you would want to be out there? I want to get his message out there. I just need to know what it is a bit better. Thanks for the education and entertainment. You're honest and funny and remind me of my New York upbringing. Sleep easy. Thank you, SoCal. Where do you live now? I'm assuming you're no longer a New Yorker from this. The left turn dash cam was insane. Oh, God, see, I get that shit happening all day long. What about Boston? Curious about your thoughts moving there and opening up shop. I don't want to move to mini New York, man. I'm not moving to mini New York. If there's no implicit right to repair, how are there licenses for it? That's a good question. What about Tennessee? My best friend grew up in Tennessee. He grew up in Knoxville and Johnson City, Tennessee. And I asked him because everybody keeps telling me about Chattanooga, and he moved there, and he said it's like Knoxville, but with less to do and more meth. So I didn't want to go. I'm gonna check out Tennessee eventually. Not Boston, Cambridge. Oh, hell no. Hell no. No Cambridge, Massachusetts. You managed to choose one of the few parts of the United States that is actually more money than New York City. Are you kidding? Have you seen the real estate in Cambridge? And this apartment would be $9,000 in Cambridge. No. No. Your channel is awesome because it's diverse and random, very informative and insightful. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate your comments, Nicole. I really do. Thank you. What about LA? No. No, California, man. Wrong direction. Wrong direction. Less lockdowns, less insanely expensive real estate, less property tax. No. No, we're not moving from one clusterfuck to another. I found your channel because of board repair. I stayed because of insight. So I sign up for class. If you have a pre-existing business, Ricardo, on rossmangroup.com, there should be a link that says Learn Logic Board Repair. I'm really not trying to give people false hope that if they spend their money on the here's what I'm looking to avoid. I don't want people who are destitute to think I'm going to spend my last of my money on this and I'm going to leave and I'm going to be able to make a bunch of money. I really want to get people that have pre-existing businesses that can take this content and immediately turn it into money. So there's a little questionnaire that people got to fill out before they show up. I don't want this to be like college. I seriously enjoy border repair videos. I'm new to electronics and soldering. I want to pick up pointers. I'd be very interested in your class. I'm interested to pick up my SMD soldering skill. Huh. A doctor customer I had once told me about how New York City doctors get paid less because there are so many doctors. Almost got a job watching your videos. It was at Xerox. I turned it down. Went into system admin instead. Now in Ottawa. Thanks for the push. I don't know how you got to Xerox from border repair videos, because Xerox sounds like a real job, not being a janitor like me. But that's awesome. And thank you. And I wish you luck. When I was walking around Cambridge in 2017 and 2018, they had a lot of stores for lease. I'm not interested I'm not interested in moving to mini New York. I'm sorry. Every other block there would be a sticker or a poster up for a socialist politician, and then there was there was every other store there was for rent. A really tiny apartment in Cambridge was like $3,000. Like I'm not moving to mini New York. I'm sorry. Like I'm not. I met some nice people there. I enjoyed my time there. It was a great place to visit, a great place to meet some interesting people. But I don't want to pay $3,000 in rent for a shitbox. You know, like it has the same scatter pattern that New York City does in many ways, and I'm not interested in that. I've experienced that. I've lived here for like 32 years. I've experienced the scatter pattern, and I'm just not interested in that particular scatter pattern. I'm not interested in going to the opposite either. Like, I ain't moving to Lumberton, North Carolina either. I'll leave it at, like, I'm not moving to Lumberton. I'll leave it at that. But, you know. It's not the freest state when you have 2.2% property tax. It's because you have states that don't have a state income tax, just like New Hampshire, but that don't have 2% property tax. Between the nonprofit and New York City shenanigans, you've earned your grays. Keep it up. Imposter syndrome sucks. Yes. But I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Lewis wants to move to the tropics and leave the winters behind. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of hot weather. I'm really not a big fan of hot weather, Nicole. But what I liked about Florida is that it seemed to have areas that had some of the good in New York without all the bad of it. Or maybe it was a tourist trap. I won't know. But when I check out Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale, I will get an idea. There was one guy that went to the last meetup that actually offered to kind of be like my tour guide if I show up again. He runs a construction company. Very nice guy. He was one of those people that you could tell, regardless of where he goes in life, he's always learning, he's teaching, and he gets along with everybody. He actually offered to be my tour guide. And I think the mistake that I made the last time that I went traveling around is I didn't go traveling around with a tour guide. Somebody that could show me what the different areas are like, what areas are good for this type of business, what areas are good to live in, what areas I should fucking avoid, what areas are expensive, what areas are really cheap for the area that you're in. And if I visit an area, I'm probably gonna try and find a tour guide. See, I want to check out Nashville, Tennessee, Franklin, Tennessee, Palm Beach, Florida, uh, Fort Lauderdale area, Florida. I'm not going to Tasmania. I'm not going to Australia, Teresa. I'm afraid of kangaroos and dingoes. And Paul Daniels, especially Paul Daniels. Excuse me. Let me adjust this. What are the chances I make the camera fall on my face when I adjust it? I'm sure North Carolina is a lovely place. I'm confident North Carolina is a beautiful place. It just so happens that my first experience in North Carolina was going to Lumberton. So I apologize. My bias is not fair. Thank you for giving recent perspectives on life complications. They've helped me to process uncomfortable thoughts and emotions. Much love. Thank you, Mr. Clutch. I really appreciate that. Hopefully you're able to figure out and work through what's bothering you. I love Nashville, says Nicole. Yeah, I need to find a tour guide for Nashville, too. If you love Nashville, then what are you doing in Palm Beach, out of curiosity? Thank you, Ken. Yeah, the person at my motel said, she asked, what do you do? And I said, I'm #1 in MacBook repair. And she goes, we're #1 in crime. No, really, Google it. We're #1. She was so proud. It was hysterical. And then I Googled it, and then I'm like, nah, bullshit. Everybody here looks like they're fucking 80 years old. Then I went outside to the gas station, and it was, oh. Shush, just take it, says Monica. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wait, are you speaking from your perspective or Blackberry's? Blackberry's about to lick me again. Florida's a tourist trap due to having the Baker Act with people with mental illness. I'll have to Google that. Please leave a comment on that once this video is done so I can see. Yeah, but those are not in the state of North Carolina. Top Cat, she meant in the state of North Carolina they were the #1 in crime. And she wasn't lying. I have visited downtown Nashville, but not sure how it is actually to live there. I would miss the beach, though. Nicole, do you make much use of the beach? Is the beach one of those things where tourists like it, but it's not really that great? Or is it one of those things where even if you live there, you're going swimming there 5 or 10 times a week because you find it so fun? Also, what do you do at the beach? I think I'd be a basket case on a beach, honestly. Like, if I was with a group of people or if I was going on a date to the beach, I think I could find that fun. But if I was just sitting there, I would sit there for 5 minutes, try to relax, start thinking about board repair, start thinking about lobbying, start thinking about the FTC, start thinking about something else, and I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing here? And I'd get up and I'd go to, I don't know, find real estate and get to work. I don't know if I'm the type of person that would enjoy a beach. People who grew up in Florida are not crazy about beaches. People who move to Florida love it. Okay, so now I know that Nicole was not a native, that she moved there. JP has exposed you. I went to the beach today, Fort Macon. I work too much to care. Yeah, I have the same experience, GT. So people say that New York City is great for the Broadway shows and the cultural centers and the museums. I don't fucking go to these museums. My payroll was like $20,000 a week. It's work, make everything work. And now I'm finally at a point where I don't have to work like 12 hours for the entire day, and my store can actually run itself because there's competent people there now, working under a competent system. It took me a while to put together a competent system because I'm an incompetent man, and now it's like everything's closed and done. But I'm just kind of burnt out on the city to actually enjoy it. Like, all this time I spent here, I didn't actually go to any of these things that the tourists enjoy. I've been to maybe 3 or 4 Broadway shows in the entire time I've been in New York City. And I was actually stupid enough that 2 of those times I used a Broadway show as a first date. I shit you not, I used a Broadway show as a first date. Total simp. Total simp. Oh, that was stupid. I was getting them with rewards points, so at least it wasn't one of those things where I like paid out of pocket for it but it still counts as simping, I imagine. I live north of Nashville. It's great, but it's grown so fast that the transportation is way behind. Housing prices have exploded. Blame Californians. Blame Californians for everything. I moved there when I was 2 years old. Florida is all I know. Huh. And Nell says I'm competent. He is. He did a good board repair video today. I'm very proud of the progress that Anel made on the way that he presents himself in videos, to be a person that would kind of sound like a meme lord to someone where people will watch this and go, I want that guy to work on my machine. I also edited the video very quickly, so it's likely that I missed something and that I'll see a comment that makes me regret saying that, but I may be premature, but I don't think I'm premature. I think there's quite a lot to be proud of there, and I am proud of it. You should be drafted to govern street-level business law stuff. That'll never happen in New York City. This city would lose so much fucking revenue because they wouldn't be finding people for bullshit anymore. Living in South Florida, there are so many activities that involve being in or near the water or beach, not necessarily sitting on the shore. What are they, Nicole Valerie? And are you open to being a tour guide if I show up there? There was one guy when I went to Maine. I feel like a piece of shit now. I forgot his name. Fuck, I'm an asshole. George. George, when I went to Augusta, Maine, George was my tour guide. And he was a good dude. He opened up the concept of the traveling Rossman tour guide. George something. I feel like such a piece of crap for forgetting his name. He actually showed up. He testified. When we couldn't get a cab to show up at the hearing, he helped. He drove over and he actually gave us a ride from the hotel. Like, he went above and beyond. I can't ask that of people. And he refused to take my money. Absolutely. But he was a good dude. That was it, Luke. That was it. Good dude. I like the Augusta airport. It was a little depressing because they have a statue of this pilot that I think committed suicide or something. It was a very nice little airport. The airport there, the airport at Augusta, Maine, was smaller than the size of the Starbucks in the airport here. Being a tour. You don't have to sit at the beach. You can walk too. I suppose you could walk. But then you get burned. You only have a few minutes until your suntan lotion is going to wear off. The sun in Florida is something else. Lewis, you're from Staten Island. You're required to move to Florida eventually. That's the thing. Florida, it's weird. Because Staten Island is the much more conservative part of New York City. Yet, as a child, I didn't get along with anybody there. I only got along with people when I left Staten Island. However, I'm far less liberal than the people that are here, so I don't really fit in either of the places that I go in New York. It doesn't matter where I am in the city. I typically don't tend to fit in with the group of people that I surround myself with. What's a P-E-N-T-A-G-A? I don't even know what that word means. Sadly, Maine is Massachusetts' vacation area. I grew up in Maine and they screwed it up. I moved to New Hampshire. Huh. B-A-O. I don't know what that means. Methelham, Florida. Is that a real place or are you just doing a play on the word meth? JP was a quality Tampa tour guide. He chose a good restaurant and was good company when we visited. Your thoughts on the metric system? I don't know. It's a system. It's a system of measurements that doesn't require weird formulas. I met JP. Blackberry? Blackberry? Ow. You just headbutted me in the eye, girl. Ow. Ow. Your skull is hard, Blackberry. You should bring back the Guido accent. I can't. I put in too much time to get rid of the Guido accent. TCRS Circuit is here. How are you doing, Tim? It's a leaning more than anything else, Dennis. It's not an ideological possession for me, but it is a leaning. But that's enough to not fit in most of the scale. How old is Blackberry? How old are you, Blackberry? How old are you, girl? She's 12. She is 12. I am good fixing MacBooks until I get tired. Tim, I hope that you have found some good staff. You really have to start putting together procedures for your business and getting some staff so that you can not lose your mind. Tim, you don't want to be gray at 32 like me. Don't be gray at 32. Men with gray hair at 32 typically don't do well in the whole dating thing. Texas has very high property taxes, though. It does, and that's what makes it not attractive to me. Also, Tim, if you want to punch an L for that, I won't be mad. You were, JP. Activities like boating, fishing, restaurants, concerts, and the water. The whole ambience. Sure, I'll be your tour guide. Why, thank you. I now have a tour guide. So I have JP for Tampa, Mark for Jacksonville, Nicole for Palm Beach / Fort Lauderdale. I am humbled and honored to have another tour guide. Blackberry? What do you say? What do you say, Blackberry? Blackberry? Ow. Why you headbutt me? Like, ow. Blackberry, no headbutt. I've never heard that in real life, Blue Dog. Let's see. Where is Clinton? Where is Clinton? Clinton, where are you? Fuck. There he is. That's Clinton. It does in Asgard because Florida has half the property tax and it has no state income tax. Same thing with Tennessee. So you can have low property tax and no state income tax, depending on where you are. The property taxes in New York, in Texas, are definitely not going to securing the power grid, that's for sure. If you want over 2%, you got to sell me. You got to sell me. What am I getting? Mark has been really, really aggressive in selling me on Jacksonville, Florida. He very badly wants to be a tour guide for that. It's definitely not because he wants to troll Jessa. Or because it would help Lewis troll Jessa. Because that's mean. Hopefully, JP, you don't have to drive me around. Because if you have to drive me around, that means I will have totaled another car on my way to Florida. And I'm hopeful that that does not happen. Okay, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm probably going to use this live channel a little bit more. Random stuff. Someone posted a Discord here if people want to post in there. I'm also going to try to be a little bit more active in it. I am going to get out of here. I am going to prepare myself some food. I have a little bit of peanut butter left in the fridge, and I think 2 slices of cheese, which is probably what I'm going to get at 1 a.m. So that's it, and I will see you all later.